Welcome to Artificial Intelligence and Gen AI related course. So today going to be our first lecture. So where we will be discussing about what is Gen AI and we will be looking towards what is artificial intelligence and the history of artificial intelligence and the fusion of artificial intelligence, machine learning, mathematics, statistics, deep learning, and your data science. So there is a lot we will be discussing today. So in case if you want to enjoy this entire AI based course where we will be discussing a lot of theoretical plus practical plus real time based examples. So if anyone want to subscribe to my YouTube channel, you can just subscribe it so that we will be posting this content weekly. One video I'll be releasing it related to artificial intelligence. So let's try to go with the very first one. As I said, what is artificial intelligence? We all are familiar. So it's a booming word and it's a buzzword everywhere. And if you notice in Naukri, LinkedIn and all these job portals, the number of openings on Gen AI has been very too much. Means like companies are hiring Gen AI based roles across every company. And even if you look at the Google trends and all that, we are able to notice that artificial intelligence is booming like anything. So if you see, there is a wrong side of AI, there is a good side of AI. So before we are getting into all of this stuff, let's try to understand what is artificial intelligence. So let's take a simple definition. So AI is an area of computer science that aims to make machines to do intelligent things. So in a very simple way, we are able to say artificial intelligence is nothing but we are giving the machines an ability to think and to act like a humans. But then saying I don't say think and act. So AIs are unable to think as of now. So they are able to do the things in an intelligent way like the humans. We are able to call it as AI. So how exactly it is doing. So now this is a simple example. If this is an AI based agent, what this agent is doing, this is an environment. From the environment, it is able to collect the data with the help of sensors. So one of the very simple example I can say is our current Tesla car or autonomous cars or even all our smart cars. What the smart cars are doing. So from the environment, so what is an environment? For example, there is a pedestrian who is walking on the road, for example. So this Tesla car is able to recognize, hey, there is a pedestrian. So now with the help of sensor. So what is a sensor? We can take the sensor as a camera. So the camera is able to recognize there is a person. So how the camera can say it is a person. So we are able to have a particular AI model inside this agent. There is a AI model. So this model going to say, hey, this person is a human. What we need to do if it is a human? So you need to hit a brake on a car or you need to slow down. So this kind of activities, if we are able to do it, we are able to call it as AI, artificial intelligence. So we all are doing this everywhere. For example, the cars are able to recognize the human. So if you take a camera, it can recognize our emotions, whether we are happy or sad and all this. So there is there are different types of AI we are imbibed in our day-to-day life. So let's see. So now in a very simple note, AI is an agent is interacting with an environment and it is trying to collect the data with the help of sensors, and based on the data it is processing the data and it is able to make a statement, hey, whether we need to hit a brake or we need to what to do. So this kind of activities we are able to perform with the help of AI or artificial intelligence. Now here the question is how this AI is able to recognize this is called as a person, or how AI can recognize this person is laughing, or how AI can recognize this person is sad, or how this AI can recognize this person is crying. So how this AI can do that? So how a AI can recognize it is a green light or a red light, or how a AI can give us a right recommendation while we are browsing Instagram or Facebook. How an AI can give us a very best shot whenever we take a snap in our photo or whatever it is. So how AI can fake our images, how AI can change our voices. If you see across the internet, we are able to see this voice changing. Even I came across this particular app where they are giving the different voices, and we are able to take our old songs and they are trying to play with any other new AI voices. They are doing it. and they are changing the faces. So how all these things this AI is doing? So like how this AI is learning all this. So now how this AI got that intelligence? So let's try to understand all that detailedly. So now before getting into it, so we need to go back to the history. So whenever we say AI, so the AI is booming. I don't actually agree with it. The boom of AI happened in 1950. So now let's understand all that. Before that, we need to understand this Turing test. What is meant by this Turing test is often described as three-person game. So, or it is called as three-person game called the imitation game. So, what exactly it is called as? It is called as an imitation game. You are able to see this small diagram here, which is a Turing test. So, there is a machine, or we can say a computer, or we are able to call it as an AI bot, and there is a person, human. So now what exactly? There is an interrogator. So now they provided two different tasks. One is to a machine, one is to a person. For example, what exactly meant by that? Let's take a calculations. So I gave a calculation, let's say arithmetic calculations or whatever it is. I gave it to a computer, and the same calculations I gave it to a person. So now the interrogator want to investigate, or he is looking at this two things. So like if he felt machine is doing similar like a human, so now the Turing test is passed. So like the machine, if they are capable enough like a human, for example, there is a reasoning questions or there is a question and answer sessions. So like persons can do it better when compared to machines. So when machines are able to beat the humans, we are able to say the computers are far greater than, or they are amazing. But one of the known factors, so like which is a human, the Turing test has been used to test machines' intelligence. So what is the purpose of Turing test? In order to test the machine intelligence with the human. And if you notice it, so to the date, no computer has passed the Turing test. So till the date, so like no computer has passed the Turing test. Means like humans are doing better than your machines. Then why or how exactly this AI been implemented everywhere? For example, let's take an example. Now we got an AI bot which is able to sing like me, for example. So like I'm not a professional singer, I can get my voice, and the AI is able to do my voice. So like it is able to mimic my voice. So based on Ajit Singh. So I just collected Ajit Singh song and I'm giving my voice. So in place of Ajit Singh, my voice came into the picture. So that's not completely like a human. It's still not like Ajit Singh. Still, it is having certain errors. So what people are doing is, if a human can do 100% of work, so AIs are able to do maybe like 80%, or they are able to do maybe like 50%. What does it mean? So if a human, for example, in order to do one activity, I want 100 people. Now with the help of AI, if an AI is able to do 50% of work, what it represents, so we are able to automate 50% of the work. So another 50 people need to be there to complete the task. So now with the help of AI, what is happening? 100% of the work is not getting completed. Only few percentage of work is getting completed. At a point when this 100% of work going to be completed is, if this interrogator is finding difficulty to identify the difference between a machine and a person, means like a human, then this Turing test going to be passed. So now people or the scientists are saying there is a point that this Turing test going to be passed by AIs. So let's understand that in a couple of minutes. So now before that, so now there are, whenever we go to AI, so before we are discussing about the growth of AI, the fall of AI, before we are discussing, there are majorly three types of AI. The very first AI we are right now is called as narrow AI. So like narrow AI, also called weak AI or artificial narrow intelligence, or we are able to call it as ANI, artificial narrow intelligence. So now if you are able to see this ChatGPT or your Midjourney or DALI, if you are able to type something, like you are able to get an image, all this falls under ANI, artificial narrow intelligence. Refers to the AI that is used to solve a specific problem. So like what these ANIs are doing, these ANIs are able to solve a specific problem. What is that specific problem? Maybe like writing down a code. Or maybe like, for example, if you are a programmer, I'm giving a specific task, write me a for loop. It is able to do that. Or write me this particular, give me a code for palindrome using JavaScript. Whatever it is, like you are able to do it, you are able to perform a specific task, or you are able to solve a specific problem we are able to call it as ANI or a narrow intelligence. Play this specific game or create a new image. All this falls under a category of ANI, artificial narrow intelligence. So now it's a very simple way. For example, there is a difference between human and ANI. So if I go near a human, if I say man, A for umbrella, for example, he's already having certain intelligence. So like he will be saying A for umbrella, he will be saying, hey man, what A for umbrella, A for apple we can say. So in order to say A umbrella, you need to give U for umbrella. So like humans are more rational, they can think and they can act. So now again, another example of humans, like think and act is if I say, man, go and everyday morning drink half liter of milk every morning, that's going to make you healthy. So you don't believe me. You just want to, you're going to think or you go and research, and based on that output, you go and perform that activity. So no one perform an activity in a blind way. So they are able to think and they are able to react. So we are calling it as rational. Then what is this ANI or artificial narrow intelligence is, if I'm giving or if I'm calling my machine A for umbrella, the AI bot can learn it. That's the reason even in the chat GPT, people are saying what are all the facts you're searching for, they may not be right. Why? So they are trained this chat GPT based on various internet content. All the internet content, there is no guarantee that it's going to be true. So that's the reason this chat GPT can give us even the wrong answers. So now it is learning through the data. It is not having the rationality to think and to act, or to think and to learn, so that they can learn what you are feeding it. If I'm teaching or if I'm feeding, this person is called as, let's say, for example, I'm showcasing a Virat Kohli image and I'm saying this guy is called Sachin Tendulkar, the chat GPT or any of these models going to learn it. So like what you are sharing it's going to learn the same thing. That's the reason the intelligence power of ANI, artificial narrow intelligence, is purely dependent on the data you are training with. So if you are providing with a high quality data, it can learn better. If you are providing with a wrong quality data or a poor quality data, it is unable to learn it. So the power of AI is dependent upon the quality of the data. So the data quality is very important. So we are calling it as ANI. So all the current inventions we are able to see till today are falling under a category of narrow intelligence, or we are able to say artificial, so narrow intelligence. So that is a basic one. So what is the role of ANI? It is able to solve a specific task. So it is able to provide a specific recommendation. It is able to detect a person, specific task. It is able to detect traffic signals. It is able to convert a particular, if you are able to give a text, it is able to generate an image. Like you are able to see Midjourney, Stable Diffusion and all that. Or if you are able to go to ChatGPT, if you are giving a question, it is able to provide an answer. If you are asking for a code, it is able to give you a solution. So it is able to perform a specific task. There is a next one. We are able to call it as general AI, or we call it as AGI. So what is meant by AGI? So general AI, also called strong AI or artificial general intelligence. So refers to the AI that is for solving general problems. It is more like a human being. So this is something we need to underline. It is more like a human being, which is able to learn, it is able to learn, it is able to think, it is able to invent and solve more complicated problems. So what exactly this AGI speak about? So this artificial general intelligence, so is able to learn, it is able to learn, it is able to think, it is able to invent, and it is able to solve more complicated problems. It is more like a human. So whenever it is able to start thinking, whenever it is able to start inventing, that is completely like we are losing the power of our AI models. I think if you watch that movie, Mission Impossible, so if you are just imagine you have a robot or you got an AI model which can think, which can invent, my God. Now humans are having a problem. What is that problem? Humans are unable to consume a lot of information. If you are a human, you cannot, if there is all the information is available in Google, it is available in YouTube, but you don't have the time and your brain don't have that capacity to learn everything in a single stretch. What I mean by capacity in a single stretch is, if I give you 1 year of time, you can learn it. But if I ask you to learn everything in a single stretch, it is completely difficult. So just imagine you got an ability to consume all the content available in YouTube and Google. You're going to be something amazing. You're going to be completely different. The knowledge, the information is mind-blowing, right? So you're going to have a lot of intelligence. Just the same thing. These computers are able to process this information. Why? They never get tired, but humans get tired. We got various other things to do in a day. It's not just about consuming the information. So, but if AGI comes into the play, it can consume all the information, it can think, it can invent, and it can solve even more complicated. So now we can say it's rationality. So if it is being rational, so that's the area where we can feel, oh, that's the danger. Now, this particular problem, we call it as AGI. According to Google Ray, so an American author, inventor, and futurist, AI will pass the Turing test in 2021. We learned about Turing test. What is Turing test? So if the machine and humans are doing the things in a similar way, we are able to call it as a Turing test. Now, based on the Turing test, so in 2029, so you are able to see AI will pass the Turing test in 2029, and it can reach the singularity point in 2045. What is meant by this singularity point? I'll be getting into that in a minute. So now what is meant by this singularity point? Now here you are able to see this. Now you are able to see this graph. This is called human intelligence, which is this red line. We started this AI. So slowly it is increasing to the capabilities of your human intelligence. So on the y-axis is the intellectual power. So the intellectual power of your AI is slowly increasing, and it is meeting a point. So when your human intelligence and when your artificial intelligence are meeting at a point, we are calling that point as a singularity point. So now what exactly happening when your human intelligence and when your artificial intelligence, if their abilities are meeting at one point, we are calling it as singularity point. So based on the Google's researcher, we are able to say that, so like our AI models are able to reach to the singularity point by 2029. So now it is able to reach towards 2029, and then we are able to move towards this AGI even like 2045 or something. So now what exactly this above line? We are able to call it as super intelligence. When your AI is able to produce intelligence far beyond the human intelligence, we are able to call it as super AI. So that is the next stage of it. So if you are able to say, if you are able to go to this point, so they said that, so by there it is able to cross the Turing test by 2029, and it is able to reach the singularity point in 2045. So by 2029, we are able to see that, so humans, or we can say the interrogators, finds difficulty to compare between your human and a machine. By 2029, they're going to be pretty close by. And they are not still, even though it is able to clear the Turing test, still it is unable to meet the singularity point. Means the human intelligence and artificial intelligence coincidence may not happen even 2029. It's going to happen at 2045. So it is able to reach the singularity point. After that, any growth of artificial intelligence, if there is if the intellectual power of AI models are increasing even above the singularity point, we are able to call it as your super AI. So super AI, also called super intelligence, refers to AI after the singularity point. So and even majority of the people don't even have the clue about how this super AI going to look like. What this super AI can do, they don't even have a clue. And majority of the people are thinking they don't want to come into this AGI. Why? That is the danger. So if the danger going to happen, it may happen with AGI. Even I'm not that great in lines of research and all that related to this AGI and all that. So like based on various articles which I read, I came to know that AGI is a bit dangerous, and majority of the people may not allow this AGI to come into the light. If it is coming into the light, that is one of the biggest problems. So even though this AGI is coming into the light, there need to be a lot of regulations to handle this. If there is no proper regulations, if the government is not looking over it, that's going to be a big problem, and that can be highly misused. So narrow AI also can be misused. We are able to see like deepfake and all this. We are able to see the misusing of AI. So like which is a narrow AI. Even if AGI comes into the picture, or we can say the amount of people who are misusing AGI going to be far greater, and that going to be a highly dangerous thing. And if people are using it, yes, I think there is a good side of it, but there is a bad side. Now we need to look into the history of it. So now what is the history of this particular AGI, or we can say like before going into, I'm not going deep into AGI. So our entire, this lecture is going to be focused on narrow AI. So like still AGI based research is happening. Now we are learning about AI, narrow intelligence. So now when this journey started, so when this journey of AI started, if you are able to look into it, so now 1950 to 1970s, artificial neural networks attracted a lot of attention. So the start of artificial intelligence is not right now. It's not like 2010 or 2015 or 2023 or 2021. It's not like that. So the attention of AI being started from 1950s to 1970s. And even if you noticed, the famous case was the failure of machine translation. So in 1966, they came up with a concept called as machine translation. So after spending 20,000 or $20 million to fund a research project, just imagine. So $20 million in time of 1966 is far expensive. So when they invested that money, so by National Research Council concluded that machine translation was more expensive. So machine translation was more expensive. Like just they invested already $20 million, but it is more expensive than that, less accurate and slower than human translation. So the NRC ended all the support. So in 20, or we can say in 1966, I think this is the failure of machine translation. And not only that, if you notice in 1981, the Japanese Ministry of International Trade and Industry invented $850 million for the fifth generation computer project. What exactly this fifth generation computer project? To build machines that could carry on conversations. We are able to see right now the conversations are happening via machine like Google, what is that? iPhone, Apple Siri, Google Alexa, Google Assistant and Amazon Alexa. They are able to do all this. So translate languages, we are able to see translate languages. Interpret images, yes, right now we are able to interpret the images. If you are able to show an image, the computers can interpret the images. And reason like humans, yes, some of the areas, yes, the machines are able to reason like the humans. So like we got this. So this is what they started in 1981. And they invested close to $850 million on that project. But what happened? So like by 1991, the project was discontinued because the goals spent in 1981 had not been met. So like they planned of this particular activity, like they wanted conversation, they wanted translation languages, interpret pictures and all that. So they are unable to make it possible. So by 1991, and they discontinued that project in 1991. But now, like if you look at 2023, we are able to see all these things are possible right now. Machine translations are happening, language translations are happening, the AI models or these computers are able to interpret the images, they are doing a bit of reasoning, all these are possible. And this is a classic example of expectations being much higher than what an AI project was actually capable of. So now, for every AI project, if you are planning to be an AI engineer or if you are planning to be getting into this AI roles, so we always need to have the scope. What you are planning to solve, what is the budget, so what is the risk, so of by doing this project, so what are the various data related security, governance, we need to understand that. And based on what we are planning, can this AI is able to do it? So like I'm saying, hey, this AI model need to be like a human, it need to do multiple activities. That is the scope. Can it possibly do, even though I have a lot of money, even though I have a lot of data, can it actually do is the actual question mark. If it is unable to do, there is no point in investing that money. So like they have this kind of hype in 1950 and 1950, 1970. After that, due to the failure of various investments, so there is a drop in AI attention. And after that, again, we got a huge amount of attention. Now we are able to see all this attention is happening again. So now, again, there is one more history. if you go back to the history of AI, so how exactly this AI started? So in 1950 to 1970, so like they are able to create this artificial intelligence with the help of neural networks. So neural networks are nothing but it is a mimic of a human. So if you in a human brain, we got a lot of neurons. So how the neurons are connected, how a neuron is able to perform an activity, similar to that activity, they created an artificial neuron and they are calling it as artificial neural networks, or we call it as ANNs. And this ANN comprises of three layers. So what are the three layers? It's going to have an input layer, it's going to have a hidden layer, and it's going to have an output layer. So any ANN structure is something like this. It's going to have an input layer, it's going to have a hidden layer, and it's going to have an output layer. So this is your input layer, this is your hidden layer, and from the hidden layer, we got an output layer. So this is our output layer. So any ANN going to have three layers: input layer, hidden layer, and the output layer. So the duration or the research of this ANNs happened between 1950 to 1970. And after that, so like 1980s to 2010, we are able to see the implementation of machine learning. So machine learning being like crazy like anything, and various companies and various people, various researchers started inventing and using this machine learning from 1980s to 2010. And if you notice it, so machine learning is a subset of AI, which is a subset of artificial intelligence. So people are curious, what is this machine learning is able to do? So our next lecture going to be on machine learning. So now, before we are jumping into machine learning, there are two types of operations. So whenever you take AI, there are two ways. One, we are able to call it as, if you take AI, under AI, there are two divisions. First one, we are able to call it as rule-based. And the second one, we are able to call it as data-driven. So what is meant by rule-based and what is meant by data-driven is, now we all have ChatGPT. Than saying a ChatGPT, take your Swiggy example. So your Swiggy is also a chatbot. So there are rules. So like if you open that Swiggy chatbot, it is able to ask you, what is your order? Select the order which you placed it. So like what is the problem? There are series of questions. You need to select it. It's just a tap. So based on that, the interaction is happening. It is also a bot, but it is a rule-based bot. And even in our car, there is a bit of AI. What is that? So like if I'm able to if I'm not wearing a seat belt, it is able to give me an alarm. Or there is a command. If I'm saying, hey, open the door, there is a command open door. It takes the keywords, based on that, it is able to open the door. We are able to call it as rule-based. So there are already certain rules written. Based on the rules, the systems are able to perform an action. We call rule-based. So the ability to interact with rule-based is very less. Why? So like if you take rules, so whatever I'm speaking, if you take a human or this entire world, there are a lot of people. So take an example like ChatGPT is similar to your Swiggy. I think no one can use it. But ChatGPT is more like a data-driven. What is meant by data-driven? So if you are able to write down a question, if you are able to change the prompt the way you are asking, it is able to give you different questions. But in a rule-based, if you are changing the way you are asking the question, your Swiggy bots cannot understand. So we are calling it as rule-based. So now what is a data-driven? It is able to understand or develop its intelligence based on the data. So how it can develop? It's a big class. We will be doing it on the next lecture. So this machine learning is falling under the category of data-driven. Even if you take neural networks, they also falls under a category of data-driven. So now, how exactly the machine learning is working? Machine learning is working set of mathematical algorithms that can automatically analyze data. So inside machine learning, you have two ingredients. So the first ingredient is the data. If there is no data, there is no machine learning. So from 1980 to 2010, the machine learning is growing. Why it is growing? So as the data is growing, the implementation of machine learning has been increasing. So now we need to have data, and then you need to have mathematical algorithms. So I'm calling it as MA. So with the help of mathematical algorithms, with the help of data, we are able to make our machines to automatically analyze the data or to perform a certain activity. One simple example is whether a person going to buy a product or not. that can be analyzed by machine learning. Whether a person going to pay the loan or not on the next month, that can be analyzed by the machine learning. So, for example, again, whether a person going to buy this product or not can be analyzed by machine learning. So it is able to provide you with the right recommendations, right dynamic words or dynamic keywords in your search. Everything can be done by machine learning. So now machine learning can do all these activities, but machine learning is having a limitation. If I go near machine learning and if I ask, you want to generate an image, machine learning is unable to do, like what we are able to see right now. If you go to ChatGPT, if I ask it to generate an image, it can do it, but your machine learning is unable to do it. And if I go near my machine learning, if I ask it to recognize a person, hey, what this image is called as, it is unable to perform it. If I go near my machine learning, if I ask it, can you recognize this voice? Machine learning is unable to do it. So machine learning is having its limitations with respect to the mathematical algorithms or the mathematical equations. The ability of the mathematical equations are limited only up to some extent in machine learning. So now people are worried, man, there is an image data, there is an audio data, there is a video data. So for example, if someone is snapping an image, I want to increase the quality of the image. I want to make it more beautiful. I want to make it more interesting. So I want to make the fonts to be high speed. I want to optimize the performance of the fonts based on the app usage. Or I want to build a conversational bot like Siri or like Alexa. So there are a lot of limitations to make them like to make all these things possible. They came up with a new thing called as deep learning. So deep learning is a sub-branch of machine learning. And deep learning got its roots from artificial neural networks or ANNs. So ANNs going to have three layers: input layer, hidden layer, and an output layer. Whereas deep learning is going to have more layers. So if you take, I want to develop a computer vision, or we can say, I want to develop my AI to see. All right, I want to build a system, or I want to make my system to see the things. I need to go to deep learning. I want to use a convolution neural networks. Instead of having an input layer, hidden layer, and an output layer, I'll be having an input image. I'll be having a convolution matrix. I'll be having a, when you take this convolution matrix, when you multiply with an input, you're able to get a feature map. And on the feature map, if you're able to pick the highest pixels, we call it as a max pooling. In this way, we will be performing multiple activities. So a convolution neural network, or I want to perform a time-based activity, a sequential activity. We got a recurrent neural network. Inside the recurrent neural network, you got different types of gates like input gate, forget gate, candidate gate, and all these types of. Now, deep learning is a special type of neural network that has more than one layer of hidden layer. This is possible only with increase of computational power, especially GPUs. Now, what are all the inventions we are able to see right now? We are able to see generative AI. Like if you are able to type something, it is able to generate an image. So we are able to speak with ChatGPT, or we are able to ask the questions to ChatGPT. It is able to give us the answers. So we are able to see that image recognition. It is able to recognize whether it is an apple, banana, whatever it is. So all these things are possible, or we are able to have the Siri and all that, or possible with the help of deep learning. So the start of deep learning has been, so they started using deep learning, and the research of deep learning started from 2010. So from 2010 till now, all the inventions we are able to see right now are with the help of deep learning. If you go behind the screens of transformers, there is a deep learning. If you go near the screens of your diffusion models, there is a deep learning. If you go behind the screens of your clip architecture, there is a deep learning. If you go behind the screens of your ChatGPT, there is a deep learning. If you go behind the screens of your image deep learning. So all the right now inventions are happening with the help of deep learning. Now, if you look at this particular flow chart, now this is the flow chart. Now this is the artificial intelligence, the early artificial stills from excitement. So this is an image which I got it from NVIDIA. They started AI from 1950. And from 1950 to 1980, there is a, your AI is in a boom and there is a fall of AI happened. From 1980 to 2010, we are able to see machine learning. Still the machine learning being used, and a lot of data scientists are learning machine learning. And from 2010 to right now, like everything is deep learning. So now AI is the major branch. Under AI, machine learning is a sub branch. Under machine learning, deep learning is a sub branch. So now if you are targeting to be an AI engineer, yes, you need to have machine learning and deep learning on the core skills. If you want to survive in an AI role, or if you want to flourish in an AI role, yes, machine learning and the deep learning skill set are high priority and they are the most important. And to get into these two roles, yes, you need to have a knowledge about math, very important. So now let me explain you another flowchart. Look at this flowchart. AI is the major branch. Under AI, we got machine learning. Under machine learning, we got deep learning is a subset. Now, a data scientist is using the part of machine learning to make various predictions or to make various decisions about the future. I'm not getting into this explanation. So, data scientist is using the part of machine learning to make the statements about the future. And this AI, machine learning, deep learning roles indicates both math and statistics. So, without math and statistics, there is no AI, there is no machine learning, there is no deep learning. Without math and statistics, there is no data science. Why? So, data scientist is using machine learning. So, practically speaking, machine learning has been pulled, or machine learning got the inspiration from math and statistics. That's saying inspiration. Machine learning, all the machine learning models or the mathematical algorithms are nothing but it is math and statistics. And once you are able to take all the math and statistics inside your machine learning, when data scientist is using machine learning, for sure, a data scientist need to have a knowledge of math. So comparatively an AI engineer, data scientist, if you take the amount of math you use in AI is, if it is 100%, in data science, you may use 40% or you may use 30% of math you use in a data science role. I'm just giving it lines of a job. So that is a percentage division. Now, if you are able to get into applications of AI, so like let's say AI is nothing but a mathematical model. Now, what you are doing, you got a mathematical model and you need to use that mathematical equation. You can use that mathematical equation in edge. Means what is an edge? If you are able to take that mathematical equation, if you place it inside a device, we call it as edge. So, or we can say chips. So now what is edge AI? An algorithm means a mathematical equation or a mathematical algorithm, AI based, running on a local machine or a local device. If it is running on the smartwatch, we are able to call it as edge AI. So if it is running on a smartphone, it can be called as edge AI. So now what are the examples? Smartphones. In our smartphones, we got this NPUs, neural processing units. You can take this AI model, you can release it inside phone so that your keyboard can give the predictions, even under the offline. There is no internet, but still it can run. If you take iPhone Siri, for some activities, iPhone Siri is able to run without internet. Now, for some activities, your iPhone is able to perform AI-based activities with the help of edge AI. So examples are smartphones, smartwatches, robots, means you are taking that AI algorithm, you are placing inside a robot. Or we are able to say smart cars, drones, See and Spray Ultimate. See and Spray Ultimate is they are releasing this AI model in a tractor so that it can kill the weed. For that reason, they are using this. So all this comes into the category of edge AI. There is another one, we call it as cloud AI. So AI algorithm running on cloud platforms. Examples, so means what exactly? They are not running on a physical devices or a machines. They are running on a cloud platforms. Example, Netflix. So without Netflix, without internet, without a website, your models doesn't work. So your Netflix, Spotify, YouTube, Instagram, so language translation, Grammarly, ChatGPT, DALL-E, all these examples comes into cloud AI. I'm not going deep into it. We will be studying them in the later classes. So now edge AI is like if you take your model, AI mathematical algorithm, if you place it inside a phone, it can run. If this AI is able to run without even an internet, we are able to call it as edge AI. If it is running with an internet, we are calling it as a cloud AI. Example, Grammarly, language translation, ChatGPT, DALL-E, they are unable to run without internet. We are calling it as cloud AI. So how one need to choose between cloud AI, edge AI? There are a lot of factors like the size of your model, the latency, and there are a lot of other factors. We'll be learning it on the later. And now these are types of learning. So this is not for this class. We will be learning it on the next AI lecture. On our next AI lecture, we will be learning about what is unsupervised, supervised, semi-supervised, generative AI, within generative AI, so generative models, adversarial networks, explicit density, implicit density, self-supervised reinforcement learning. We'll be learning, so the ChatGPT, all the current AI models falls under this category. So we'll be learning about this on our next lecture. We'll be learning about what is a generative model, what is a discriminative model. We'll be learning it on our next. We'll be learning about what is generative, discriminative, what is a probabilistic model, and what is a deterministic model. So that going to be the next lecture. So on the next lecture, we learn about that content. So on this content, we completed up to Edge AI and the Cloud AI. If you like this content, please do share and subscribe. And if you seriously like this content, please share your views on the comments so that I can make more videos similar to this. And I'm continuing this courses again on the next week. They're going to be the next lecture on AI. So see you on our next lecture. Thank you so much and happy learning.